Welcome to Two Guys Talking Sports and to hell with the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Who?
Exactly.
They're dead to me. They're
Exactly.
Dead to me.
Let's just jump right into it. We're going to recap this awful game yesterday by the South Carolina Gamecocks. They took on Florida. They're coming off a bye week. You know, we talked about it last week. The way that you win the bye week is you come out in your next game and you look prepared and you execute in all phases of the game.
Yeah.
And
Offense did.
Yeah, offense looked great the entire game. They did what, I think they had maybe one drive where it just looked kind of shaky.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, the offense was clicking. We were able to run the ball. We were able to pass the ball. Yeah. You were converting third downs, hitting big plays, first down after first down, scoring points, getting into field goal range. I mean, Spencer Rattler still playing at an elite level this year, and we are just wasting everything that he's doing.
And honestly, like, his interceptions are coming at times.
They're
like
at the very end of the game where he's just basically having to throw it up just as a prayer.
Really, his only bad pass to this, I guess you could say bad game, was against Tennessee.
Right.
His worst pass was that pick six in the first half against Tennessee.
Yeah.
The interception yesterday, you can't be too upset.
No, and honestly, if we make that extra as much to try and get as much field. Yeah. Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame the offense at all. No. I'm not going to blame Spencer Rattler. I'm not going to blame Mario Anderson. Had probably his best game of his career, I would say. I mean, he was running like a madman. There were times where he would be stopped at the line, but just his sheer effort.
He's a running back.
Yeah, I mean, he would propel 3 or 4 yards forward.
Yeah, he's a running back. And honestly, I was nervous going in when I found out about the offensive line shakeup. I mean, because that is the position group you want continuity on.
Right.
You don't want to be changing your offensive line every week because, like I said, it's the continuity issue. There's like couple hiccups, obviously. The center we normally had got moved to right tackle. Unfortunately, he got hurt.
Right.
So he had to come out. So I don't know, man. I feel like we take a step forward and then we take 3 steps back. It was like lack of execution yesterday. And I understand, like, the punter's not going to be perfect every time, but the moments we needed.
The only thing that the defense did adjust was in the second half, they were doing good.
Something was going to have to change about the offensive play calling. I'm curious to see if that happens the rest of the season. But like you said, you can dial up any play, but it's if the defense can execute it. But at the same time, we're also asking our 2 safeties to be cornerbacks when they're not.
Right.
And we're not helping them. It's like we got beat mostly the same way every series Florida had. They were picking on number 21 Nick Emmanwori.
Yeah.
And we couldn't stop.
And
we
like
couldn't
you said,
adjust.
he's playing out of what he was normally is supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost kind of like when we had Mukwamu a few years ago, where he's technically a safety, but you're putting him at cornerback.
Yeah.
And people are wondering why, you know, he's getting torched here and there. Well, he's playing out of position. And unfortunately, I guess we're injuries or whatever, we're having to play some of these guys out of position. But if you know that that's the case, scheme up a defense that Bennett, you know, obviously it's not going to be perfect, but help them out a little bit, you know?
And I think one thing I saw on like social media, I think Twitter, I think we really do. I don't think we kind of realized like how much we were going to miss Darius Rush and Cam Smith this year. It's the same. It's been the same thing with our defense all season long.
Right.
It's like it starts with the defensive line. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, he's going to eat you alive.
Right.
Whereas like our offensive line can't protect them, can't do anything. And that your defensive line determines how the rest of your defense is going to play. Our linebacker play, it's mediocre. But like the one thing I would have given Clayton White credit for coming into this season is normally they were pretty good about making in-game adjustments. And it seems like this season, I don't know if it's just lack of trying to think of the word. Like players at your disposal, lack of depth. I don't know, because it was the same thing every game, every play yesterday.
Right.
I think we gave up less than 100 yards rushing, but
they torched us through the air.
And another thing I hate seeing is some offensive player has a career day against our defense.
Yeah.
The receiver from Mississippi State and Graham Mertz yesterday,
and the receiver yesterday. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was, you know, the little white boy.
I'll tell you.
But the thing with Clayton White is I think the defense, honestly, has been pretty consistent throughout his tenure at South Carolina. I think a lot of his weaknesses were kind of overlooked because the offense.
Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah. The offense has never been that great, under Beamer. And so it's kind of been like an excuse for the defense. Well, can't keep the defense off the field. They're tired. Offense can't do anything. Well, now offense is consistently putting up points. Offense is consistently playing well. Yeah. And now you're just seeing the defense is letting us down game after game after game.
Yeah. And you can tell it in Beamer's mid-game interviews. His contract was technically up.
Right.
But like one thing I hear is just Shane Beamer's too nice of a guy. He's a loyal
He's too
guy.
loyal, yeah.
And it's like, is he going to make the decision to?
If he wants to be a true top tier head coach, you have to be able to say, look, you're not getting the job done.
Yeah.
I love you as a person. I'll always love you as a person. I can, it might have been in your wedding. We'll still be, really good friends. But this working relationship just isn't working out because at the end of the day, you're the top dog. You're the one at the top. What the people below you do is going to affect you. And if you can't make those decisions that are clear to everyone, fans, the beat writers, just national media, that the defense is just not doing what it needs to do, you got to be able to make those tough decisions.
And he's getting paid $1 million a year to be the coordinator.
Exactly. It's not chump change. And like I said, there is the talent there.
Yeah.
It just seems like maybe there's not quite the depth, and we kind of knew that coming in. They're still rebuilding this program.
Yeah.
So you're still trying to get the depth in there. But,
at the end of that,
if you're a good defensive coordinator, you can take what's given to you and scheme it up to not necessarily make a player, excel in a position, but be able to get the job done.
Yeah.
And we're just not doing that. We're putting players in positions
and that's what you expect of offensive coordinators.
Correct. I mean, you just got to figure out same way that Dow Loggins, they've been tinkering with the line all year to figure out. He's making. I'll give him that. Like the offense has progressed. We're happy with the offense.
Now that we got our running back.
The line was terrible game one, and they've constantly tinkered with it to make it better each and every week. And each and every week, it's like they look a lot better.
Yeah.
So defensively, you got to do the same thing. I get it. If you got to take a guy that normally plays safety and play him at corner, fine. But scheme up a defense that doesn't necessarily, like I said, it's not going to make him be a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
But at least make it work.
Yeah,
where they're not constantly getting torched.
Our secondary they were bleeding yesterday.
And I saw where DJ Swearinger was like, I'll come in.
Yeah.
I'll come in as an advisor. Bring him in.
But it's like it shouldn't take a rocket scientist to see whatever you're calling.
You're getting paid $1 million a year.
Is it working? It's like, okay, what do you have to do to fix it?
Right.
And that's what you have your bye week. It's not like it's a new issue that popped up yesterday.
That is the worst thing for me is that it came off the bye week.
Our safeties have been beat the exact same way every game this season. So it's nothing new.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can say it's on the player, that maybe they're taking a bad angle or whatnot. Right. But your safety should not be consistently getting beat down the field.
If it's a one-game thing where you're just like, all right, the safety had a bad game, taking bad angles, that's one thing. But we're now 5 games into this, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're coming off a bye week, and it's the same thing. Like you legitimately had 2 weeks of preparation for this game, and you look just as bad as you've looked all season. Like not even a little bit better. They look just as bad as they have all season. And it ain't getting any easier. You got to go down to Missouri this week. And, they're coming in ranked 20th. They're 6-1, and they're playing extremely well.
And they pass the ball.
Right.
And they pass the ball effectively.
I mean, their quarterback already has over 2,000 yards this year. So, I mean, they're gonna go right after them.
Yeah.
The other thing is these teams are seeing all our obvious weaknesses, and they're just exposing it week after week after week, and we're doing nothing to change it.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's crazy to say this, but like what we normally said the previous 2 seasons is like our offense isn't helping our defense.
Right.
Now it's roles reversed.
Right.
And it's like there's always a main issue every game so far this season. First game it was offensive line. Then you could say running back position, defensive line.
Yep.
Now it's the secondary. So I don't know, man.
For the offense, every issue that has
it's been corrected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very pleased with the hire with Dow Loggins. People they didn't really know what we were going to get. The offense has looked well pretty much every game this year.
Yeah.
Even if we're not scoring 40 points a game, they've done good enough to win every game.
The pass game's been there. The running game's gotten better every game.
And like I said, the line was an issue game one. They've week after week tinkered with it to try and fix it. Running back position was, a weak point. They've tinkered with it, got an actual running back in there. So as far as the offense is concerned, kudos to Beamer on that hire. He's got to do the same thing. He's got to make a move defensively.
And I don't even know where
you're just not going to you may squeak by and have a great defensive game, but they're just not gonna
Yeah.
play good for the rest of
And
the
you,
year.
I
They're
mean,
just
you can't
not.
accept those results. If you, like you said earlier, if he wants to be a great head coach,
Right.
you have to be able to make these decisions.
And I get it not wanting to do it mid-season because, like, all right, who do you put as a defensive coordinator? Mid-season. I get it, but you basically got to have it in your mind. If you're a Beamer, I'm moving on.
I mean, we've got it. We've got an experienced
The
secondary
only
coach.
way that you don't move on from him is if somehow you just come out and play lockdown defense for the next 6 games and you go 6-0, to finish out the year.
Yeah.
That's the only way
Yeah.
that you don't move on. But the thing is that's not going to happen.
No, and I don't.
They're
think
going to get torched this week.
Yeah, and I don't think
Missouri.
we should be making a. I don't think we should fire the defense coordinator, but I think we need to address about who's coming up with these schemes
Mid-season.
Yeah,
Right, end of the season, he needs to be gone.
you think we should
Clayton
fire
White.
him now?
No, I'm saying
End of the season.
end of the season, he's
Yeah.
definitely got to be
No,
gone.
yeah.
Mid-season, we got to change up who's calling the plays or assisted. Maybe let's tag team this thing, calling the plays or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They've got to make some kind of adjustment within the coaching staff
hmm
for the next 6 games to try and make the defense at least competitive.
Yeah, it's
Because the other thing is like last year, Clayton White's defense also benefited on, I think they were like one of the top or towards the top of the country in turnovers. And we're not getting any turnovers this
No.
year. No interceptions, no
Nope.
fumbles, nothing. I mean, we're not getting any takeaways.
well, it starts with pressure,
Right.
and we're not getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
And us,
Well, it's almost like when we do get pressure on the quarterback,
we don't.
the
run.
defensive backs let us down because you're just like, all right, he almost got him. And then they just complete a 25-yard pass because
Yeah.
the defensive backs are just
Yeah.
lost.
And it's like when we blitz, we don't always blitz effectively, and we
Right.
always just get beat.
Exactly.
There's always a weakness in our defense, and it gets exposed almost every play.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we underestimated how much we'd miss Jordan Burch and Gilbert Edmonds, but it seems like the guys we brought in, and you can't expect a freshman to come in and be a
Right.
game changer day one.
Defensive
Especially-
line isn't. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Like you said, we're not giving up a lot of rushing
No,
yards.
our weakness is the linebacker position,
Yeah.
and the secondary,
Right.
and the
And it's not
tackling.
really talent. It's
No.
more they're having to play out of position.
Yeah.
And you just got to scheme it up to benefit those guys.
And honestly, like, I don't know if this would, because I don't want to be like that Davy Downer, just throw in the towel, put in the freshmen, let them get game experience. Because, I mean, we still have something to play for, I guess. I mean,
At this point, you're not making a bowl.
if you ask me right now how many games I think we'd win off the remaining schedule,
4.
2.
No, I'm saying
Finish 4 games
wins.
total.
Yeah. Vanderbilt and Jacksonville State. And I'm not even counting Vanderbilt after
yeah.
the way they played against Georgia.
Yeah.
You can't automatically check Vanderbilt off as a win.
Mm-mm.
Not with this defense.
No.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
And
I guess the only thing is, I mean, we do play better at home. Say what you want. We did lose.
we got 4
we
home
played
games.
better.
Yeah,
We played better at home.
we do.
Um,
Again, they just got to make some adjustments, and it's got to happen this week.
you would think it would have happened in the
Even if
bye
it's,
week.
all right, we're just going to play 3 down linemen. We know we can't get pressure, so let's just give an extra guy in the coverage.
Yeah.
I'd figure something out, change something up,
Mm-hmm.
because what you're doing the first 5 games or 6 games of the year has not worked at all.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's
Missouri will beat us by 14 or more.
you're probably right. You're probably right. It's
South Carolina will put up 30-something points again.
hopefully again. It's on the road. I know the Missouri Stadium, whatever it's called,
Right.
isn't the toughest place to play. But I think this is we just haven't had good success against Missouri
Yeah,
in a long time.
Missouri
Even going
gives
back to-
up they give up 345 yards a game, 227 through the air, 118. So I mean, they're not like a stout defense.
Mhm. better than us.
Definitely better than us. Yards allowed, our average is 450 yards a game.
They're
320. We average 321 yards a game passing on defense allowed.
and guess what? They got a good receiver for Missouri. He's gonna light us up.
They got a great quarterback.
Honestly,
Cooks.
yeah.
I mean,
Brady Cook's good.
he's got over 2,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. He's only thrown 3 interceptions. I mean, we make guys look like Heisman contenders. I literally saw a tweet where people were comparing Graham Mertz to one of the Heisman contenders, and all his stats were better.
He was 30 of 48 yesterday with 423 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. His best game prior to our game, if you're going just based off yards, was against Utah. His second game, he 193 yards.
Yeah,
next game 166. He hadn't passed for over 300 yards until yesterday.
Yeah,
and he did 423.
Same thing with the Mississippi State quarterback.
We did have 3 sacks yesterday, I guess. It's the only positive.
So South Carolina, this coming up week, 3:30, we'll take on Missouri.
At the end of the day, it's nothing changed from the bye week. Nothing changed from the bye week.
No. Offensively, they did, because they did on the offensive side of the ball. What I wanted them to do offensively was to get Harbor into the game, get him at least one touch where you just on purpose throw him the ball. They did that, and then keep him on the field.
Yeah.
And if he's open, hit him. If not, use him as a decoy. They did that.
Yeah.
So offensively, the thing that I wanted to see them coming out of the bye week was use the tight ends more. They did that. Get Harbor in the game. They did that.
Yeah. And it's
defense did nothing.
And honestly,
I don't even know if they practiced.
I didn't even expect much from the offense because, like I said, that's not a big issue that needed to be fixed. We knew going into the bye week who our RB1 was, Mario Anderson.
Yep.
We knew we needed to get Nick Harbor in the game more.
We did.
You don't need a bye week to determine that or to figure out ways to get them on the field. Any person with a brain and a decent IQ can figure out, okay, maybe these guys we've been rolling out there on offense isn't working. I mean, we used to make a Blake more yesterday. We used Joshua. We had playmakers on our offense outside of Xavier Leggett, and getting them more involved helps him out.
Exactly,
because he had some big plays yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
But you can't just keep targeting one player because then they're just going to aim point on him.
Right.
But like I said, we've got a good receiver group.
Yeah, like I said, 10 different guys got a catch yesterday. So you were able to spread the ball around a lot more. You can do that. Obviously, you're going to be a lot more efficient. I think that they did want to tinker with the line probably earlier in the year, but it's hard to do what they did yesterday in the middle of the week.
Yeah,
but having that 2-week gap where they were able to move guys around, practice it for 2 weeks, I'll say, I mean, again, it looked like they made a change and it worked.
Yeah.
So offensively, they're doing everything that we need them to do.
Yep.
You can't ask any more from the offense. I mean, when you're putting up 37 points, you should win the game.
Yeah. I mean, the offense not a big deal. Defense is just going to continue to hone us.
Yeah.
Because that's a game we should have won yesterday. Like I was telling Zeb before you got here earlier, like we did lose, but we weren't. It's not like Florida was light years better than us.
No. We should have won that game.
So I don't know, man. It's just the same old.
South Carolina will take on Missouri. Again, I think it's going to look the same as yesterday. I think offensively, we'll score some points. Spencer Rattler's going to continue to look extremely
about whose
good.
defense can make a stop.
Right, exactly.
Not ours.
Clemson will come off of their bye week, and they're going to take on Miami. Both teams 4-2. This is the 8:00 game next Saturday. Clemson is favored by 3, and it's in Miami. But like we've said for weeks now,
that's not really a And Miami is coming off 2 consecutive losses.
Right.
I mean, I'll say this: I watched some of the game last night. I think we kind of wrote off North Carolina.
Yeah. What are they now? Number 12?
Maybe. I don't think the new polls
number
have
10
come out yet. Okay.
Looking at on Clemson's schedule,
dude, there's a very big possibility if it stays how it is. That's going to be a huge matchup when North Carolina comes in the Valley.
Yes.
The second Death Valley.
Yep. I agree.
Not the Death Valley. I think Clemson wins this one easily. They're coming off the bye week. Hopefully, I mean, as a podcast host, I will say hopefully they have fixed it.
Right.
As a Gamecock fan, I hope they didn't fix anything. But
they will though. That's the thing is like they have Dabo as a head coach. I mean, he holds his coaches accountable to let's figure out what the weaknesses are, let's fix it, and they normally do. They're good off the bye. And like you said, Miami is kind of snowballing right now after that. We didn't take a knee, fumble, lost the game, and then losing yesterday to
North Carolina.
Yeah, to North Carolina.
But I think you see once like conference play starts, you see what these teams are.
Right.
You see who's who.
Yeah.
You look at Kentucky, for example. Kentucky started 4-0.
Right.
They did beat the breath out of Florida.
It's hard to tell,
but
with some of these things.
Yeah, and I mean Missouri made it look easy against Kentucky last night.
Yeah.
So you start finding out the type of team you have once you enter in conference play. But
unless you're South Carolina, you know what your defense has been since game one.
I don't know which team's going to show up.
Exactly.
Each week, I'm done with them. But yeah, Clemson wins. I say Clemson wins by 10 points.
I agree. I think they're favored in the FPI as well. 52% chance they win this game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to use Shipley a lot this week. He's going to be coming off of a lot of rest, get him the ball a lot. Klubnik's just going to continue to be what he's been this year. I don't expect him to be anything more.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, with as capable as the running backs are for Clemson, with Will Shipley, Phil Maffa, would you as a coordinator, would you rather just go with one back, this is my guy, I'm going to ride him till I can't no more in terms of production, and then get the set, because obviously they can't play every snap. But
I just keep switching them out.
But see, I just don't. They're two different types of runners,
right?
And I would go with the hot one, and just let him go.
If you got a guy that's just busting 20-yard run after 20-yard run, something like that, yeah, keep him in there. But the way that they, like you said, they're two different running backs. In how they run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost kind of like a few years ago when you had Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. They're just two different types of running backs,
we
then
didn't get
the same way with who was it with the Carolina Panthers a few years ago where they had Thunder and Lightning?
Deshaun Foster and Stephen Davis.
Right. So you just gotta know your offense. I think some offenses are built to use a 2 running back system based on what those running backs can do.
Yeah.
If it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But like I've seen, and I don't think this is like any national person, but they're like, need to see Clemson feed Maffa more than Shipley. I don't know.
It's tough. I think Shipley's definitely the better running back. I think he's definitely
all around.
I think he's definitely the better running back. I think he gets frustrated with the usage. Yeah. At least he did towards the beginning of the year, because he would do a lot of the work to get him down there to the red zone, and then they would put Maffa in, which I get it. Maffa is more of your bruiser running back that you would want at the goal line. But if you're Shipley, you're like, man, I'm doing the work here, and especially he's cashing the checks.
Clemson's offensive line hasn't, and they were going in, and Dabo even said going into the season, in preseason, this was probably his best offensive line he's ever had, and it turns out they're the worst.
Sometimes Dabo just says things, and I get it. You want to be confident in your team. Mm-hmm. You want to hype your players up, but dude, you don't always have to say they're the best.
Yeah, and
you don't always have to say like, all right, this is the best defensive line that we've ever had. This is the best. Dude, just say we think we got a solid offensive line this year. You don't have to go out and say this is the best I ever had.
Yeah,
everything doesn't always have to be the best. Sometimes it can just be solid.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I think Clemson wins.
I think South Carolina loses. I think Clemson wins.
I want South Carolina to win.
South Carolina's going to win one more game this year.
2. Hey, dude, we might not even beat Jacksonville State.
Might not. Might not beat Jacksonville State. Yeah. If we don't beat Jacksonville State, there's probably going to be a hole in that TV when we film. And
you definitely don't want to interview me.
The table may be on
this
fire.
Microphone after that game. But another thing, going back to South Carolina, and I know this is just the day and age of football, college football that we're in with NIL. But man, nothing irritates me more when you get on your post-game show and say, NIL, we need your money. This. Nobody's going to give you your money, money when that's the product.
Right.
And it sucks to say that. Yeah. But
you wouldn't go to a restaurant and if you ordered the ribeye and they constantly come out and give you a hamburger.
Yeah.
You're not going to continue to give your money for a ribeye if all you're getting is a hamburger.
So, and I think I don't know, man. I hope.
But at the same time, I kind of get what he's saying. Like, all right, if you want us to be better, we kind of need this money because that's just the name of the game now.
But we're also just not a university that has mega-rich donors.
Right.
I mean, we're like
We had one, and then they pissed her off.
Yeah. thank the former president of the
Yeah.
university for that. But I think I saw something on Twitter. If you like adjust, this is not including Texas and Oklahoma because they're not in there yet. We're 12th out of 14th in NIL.
Yeah.
But again, man, like I don't know, like nobody's going to donate their hard-earned money to
When you're
consistently see the same product out
Right.
there. And I know we're not going to be like an A&M or Tennessee in Florida in terms of NIL. And honest to God, I don't think Beamer wants to be like that either.
Yeah.
You know, Bob Soup said it a couple weeks ago, and I think he's one of those coaches that are like anti-NIL and maybe not transfer portal, but NIL. And they were asking him about something after they lost they got the break speed out of them against Georgia. He's like, yeah, they got some good players that they bought over there. Bro, that's the day and age of college football.
But also like Georgia is at this point, and they kind of have been for years. They're still a top tier. Yeah,
they don't need the NIL
they're a name.
to be good.
Right, exactly. People are still going to go there even without the NIL. Doesn't hurt that they have that kind of money to throw at them, but they were going there either way. Same thing with Texas. Obviously, Texas has crazy money, but just like players were going there because it was Texas. It's the Longhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these schools have the money, but they don't necessarily need it. To still get the players.
And I mean, Mark Stoops is also the same coach who gave Beamer a hard time in the preseason last year,
right?
About him doing this TikTok dance.
Yeah.
Like honestly, man, and I've seen people kind of give Beamer a hard time about his press conference last night, how he's calling out a bunch of people. Mark Ryan at the the Upstate. Like, what do you want him to say?
No, you got to hold him accountable. And
he didn't call players out, but he was like, we didn't execute.
Right.
What do you want him to say?
They're grown men.
Yeah.
And they're, at this point, they are getting paid as well. Not necessarily by Beamer in the school, but some of them are making more money than a lot of like hardworking citizens that are going to those games.
Yeah.
And that's what you put on the field. Yeah. It's time to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
If you're saying that these guys want to play in the NFL, they're going to be held accountable there. Yeah. It's time to hold them accountable here. We were held accountable in high school. Yeah. When we played, maybe there wasn't like press conferences where they said it publicly, but you were held accountable by your coaches.
And I think he's just reached his breaking point with the defense because it's the same issues week in and week out. And he's not calling out players, but he was like, we dialed up this specific play,
right?
And our cornerback started the blitz, and then just stopped.
Yeah, right.
He didn't call anybody out. That's not like singling out a player,
right?
But
you can go and figure it out if you want to.
But when a coach is asked a specific question about execution, lack of execution, whatever thereof, he's going to answer the question, and I think it's okay to call out a coaching staff.
I don't mind them calling out a player. They're grown men.
Yeah, I think you kind of toe the line with that. I don't think you call anybody out specifically, just like how you don't want another coach saying something about your player.
Right.
I think you toe the line, like you bring them in and talk to them about that. But people clip these 3-second videos when he's saying straight up, we have to do better coaching and better preparing them. But at the same time, we called these specific plays and they weren't executed properly.
Right.
It's
with the defense, it's both. It's players not executing when the right plays are called. It's the coaches not putting the players in the right position a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So they got to figure it out, or they're just going to get torched again this week, which I think they will.
But there's some good games yesterday. The Oregon-Washington game was good. A couple late night games. I didn't get to see this, but Colorado.
I was about to say our weekly Colorado take. They were up huge.
But there were 2 games yesterday where teams were up huge.
Right.
Colorado State, Boise State. Boise State was winning 30-10 with less than 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and lost. Colorado was beating – who did they play? I'm blanking on who they played. Stanford.
Yeah.
They were winning 29-0 at halftime.
Right.
And
biggest comeback in Pac-12 history. What makes it worse is that your starting quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, at halftime is going on social media sharing links to his merchandise.
I wonder if somebody runs his.
I don't give a damn. You can't do that. Even if you got somebody running it.
Yeah. Because I know like one of Deion's sons does like a lot of social. I don't know if it's for like Deion or like Colorado, but I know like his son
You can't do it. I don't care who it is. Even if you got somebody running your page, just say, hey,
Yeah.
you wait till the end of the game,
Yeah.
before the game, whatever. But middle of the game, we got to have some self-awareness here.
I think
I don't care how big you are.
Yeah. I think another thing that stuck out to me is I think Travis Hunter needs to determine
yes, he has
which
to
side of the ball
play,
he wants to play on.
and he's gonna want to play wide receiver
because he's still a good cornerback, but from what I saw and read, it's like they were exposing him.
He gets gassed
in the entire second half, and he's coming off the injury. He missed a couple games, but you can't expect somebody to play every single down on the offensive and defensive side of the ball and not show some
he's got to pick one. He's got to either pick, and if I was,
honestly, I think he'd be a DB because people are saying he's probably one of the best cover corners in college football right now.
But I agree, he's got to pick something. If you mainly play wide receiver and you just get to crunch time at a game and you want to put him out there,
that's okay.
Something like that. But he can't go 4 quarters playing both positions.
Not playing 12, 13 games.
No, it's not gonna last that way. It's not beneficial for the player either. You're just risking him for injury. The body's just gonna break down.
He caught a touchdown pass and he got popped pretty hard. On his left side, mid back region. That hurt me to watch.
He's got to pick something. So, just to wrap it up, Gamecocks are getting smoked again this week.
I wouldn't say smoked.
Gamecocks are getting smoked.
We normally play Missouri pretty close, but we just can't figure them out.
Clip this, Zeb. The Gamecocks are getting smoked this week.
Well, I'm
17 or more we lose by.
You want to make a bet?
And we might score 35 and still lose by 17.
Did you forget our bet for the Brave series?
No, you still owe me $1,000 from 2021.
How about this? We're even.
Oh, okay. Your $20 bet to my $1,000 bet.
No,
and he wants to call it even.
It was a $50 value.
$50 to $1,000. No, you owe me $950.
I think. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, I thought.
Clip it. South Carolina loses by 17, and we might score 35. Offense is not a problem.
You want to make a bet on that?
No. I don't think we can legally make wagers.
Well, a friendly wager.
We'll make it off camera.
No, we'll do it now.
And I'm betting South Carolina is going to lose.
Yeah, I think we lose, but I don't think we lose by 3.
Unless they change something up. Like I said, there's a lot of
you have to address something in the secondary because Missouri passed the ball, and that's just you're not going to be surprised by their offensive play calling. Right. So you got all week to prepare to get ready for that offense.
Yep. And then I think Clemson
wins
easily, and it's just gonna when Clemson beats Miami again this week by 10 or more, that door for Deion is just gonna open up a little bit more for Deion to come to Miami.
No, not this soon. This wasn't a good week for us and our teams.
No.
Braves lost. I hate the Phillies. They're the worst.
Yep.
South Carolina lost.
Cowboys
that's just our life.
Yep.
The Cowboys got their teeth kicked.
You're a Panthers fan, so.
No, I'm no NFL fan.
Gamecocks 3:30 on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Clemson 8 o'clock. Gamecocks lose. Clemson wins.
Put it on the board.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.